Imagine waking up tomorrow. You open your eyes. The sunlight spills through your window. The room feels familiar, but you don't know why. You don't know your name. You don't know your age. You don't know where you were born. You don't remember your family. You don't remember your language. You don't remember what success means. You don't remember what love is. Every memory has disappeared. Now let me ask you something. Who are you? Take a moment. Don't answer too quickly, because without your memories, without your education, without your culture, without everything the world has ever taught you, who would you become? Would you chase the same dreams? Would you believe in the same ideas? Would you fear the same things? Would you still become the person you are today? Or was that person quietly built by the world around you? Most of us spend our lives believing that our thoughts belong to us, that our opinions are ours, that our ambitions are ours, that every decision we make is the result of free will. But what if that belief is only another story we've inherited? What if your mind is less like an island and more like a mirror? A mirror reflecting everything it has ever seen. Every conversation, every advertisement, every classroom, every heartbreak, every celebration, every screen, every voice, every expectation. Piece by piece, the world leaves fingerprints on your mind. And after enough time, you stop seeing those fingerprints. You simply call them myself. This is one of the strangest truths about being human. We spend our lives trying to discover who we are, while rarely asking who has been shaping us all along. Because perhaps the most powerful force in human history isn't money, it isn't politics, it isn't religion, it isn't even technology. It is something far quieter, something almost invisible. Perspective, not the way you look at the world, but the way the world quietly teaches you how to look. And once you notice it, you can never unsee it. The world doesn't change overnight. When people think about history, they imagine revolutions, empires rising and falling, great inventions, great leaders, great wars. But history rarely changes in a single moment. It changes quietly, almost invisibly. Civilizations are not built in one day. They are built through ordinary people, repeating ordinary habits. Again and again and again, a child copies their parents. Parents copy their society. Society copies its culture. Culture copies its past. Generation after generation, the pattern continues until one day, someone mistakes the pattern for human nature. But many things we call human nature were once just habits. Think about shaking hands, driving on one side of the road, celebrating birthdays, wearing suits to business meetings, checking your phone the moment you wake up. None of these were written into our DNA. Someone started them. Others repeated them. Eventually, they became normal. Normal is a fascinating word because normal doesn't always mean natural. Sometimes it simply means repeated. And that raises a dangerous question. If enough repetition can make something feel normal, what else has repetition convinced us to accept? That question stayed with me for years, until one ordinary afternoon, when something happened that completely changed the way I looked at humanity. I wasn't expecting to learn anything profound. In fact, I was trying not to fall asleep. 10 years ago, I attended a seminar. It was not special. It was not life-changing. At least, that was what I thought. The room was cold. The lights were slightly too bright. Rows of chairs filled the hall. People sat shoulder to shoulder, facing the stage. At the front of the room, a speaker was talking through a microphone. His voice echoed softly through the speakers. The projector made a quiet humming sound. Some people were taking notes. Some were pretending to listen. Some were simply waiting for it to end. And I was sitting at the very back, higher than most of the audience. From where I sat, I could see almost the entire room. But there was one problem. My phone was dead. No battery. No messages. No internet. No escape. And because I had nothing to do, I did something that most people rarely do anymore. I looked around. At first, everything seemed normal. Just another seminar. Just another room full of people. Just another ordinary afternoon. But then, something changed. Not in the room. Not in the people, but in the way I was looking. I stopped seeing individuals, and I started seeing patterns. That was when I noticed it. Almost everyone was looking down, not at the speaker, not at the stage, not at the person beside them. Down, one person, then another, then almost the entire room. Heads slightly lowered, eyes fixed on a screen, thumbs moving in silence. Swipe, pause, look, like, swipe, pause, look, like. The movement was simple, almost meaningless, but when I saw it repeated across the room, it felt strange, very strange, because no one had told them to do it. No one had stood at the front and said, "Now, everyone open Instagram." No announcement had been made. No agreement had been formed. No group decision had taken place. And yet, almost everyone was doing the same thing, at the same time, in almost the same way. They were not speaking to each other, but somehow, they were connected by the same behavior, the same rhythm, the same invisible instruction. And in that moment, the seminar itself disappeared. The speaker's voice became background noise. The room became something else. It became a living experiment, a quiet demonstration of human behavior. I saw people scrolling through images of other people, people watching other lives while missing their own moment, people sitting inside a real room, but mentally existing somewhere else. And what disturbed me was not the phone. It was not Instagram. It was not social media itself. It was the realization that human beings could move together without ever agreeing to move together. They could repeat the same behavior without ever being commanded. They could follow the same pattern without ever seeing the pattern. That was the moment I began to wonder, how much of human life works like this? How many things do we do every day, not because we truly choose them, but because the world around us has quietly trained us to do them? How many desires feel personal, but were actually created by repetition? How many opinions feel original, but were borrowed from the environment? How many dreams feel like destiny, but were only copied from the people around us? The more I thought about it, the more uncomfortable it became. Because once you notice this pattern in other people, you eventually have to ask the harder question: where does this pattern exist in me? I also use social media. I also check my phone without thinking. I also follow trends. I also copied behaviors from the world around me. So the point was not that I was different from them. The point was far more disturbing. I was one of them. The only difference was, for a brief moment, my phone had died. And because my phone was dead, I could finally see what was alive around me. That small moment changed something in me, because I realized that boredom can sometimes reveal what distraction hides. When we're distracted, we move automatically. But when distraction disappears, we begin to observe. And observation can become dangerous. Not dangerous to others, dangerous to illusion. Because the moment you truly observe human behavior, you begin to see that much of what we call freedom may actually be habit. Much of what we call personality may actually be conditioning. And much of what we call choice may actually be imitation. That day, sitting at the back of a boring seminar, I saw something simple, people looking down at their phones. But behind that simple image, there was a deeper truth. Human beings do not need to be controlled by force. If their attention can be shaped by habit, they do not need to be told what to desire. If the world can show them the same desire every day, they do not need to be ordered to follow the crowd. If belonging to the crowd feels safer than standing alone. And perhaps this is why the smallest behaviors matter so much. That day, I did not leave the seminar with new knowledge from the speaker. I barely remembered what he talked about, but I left with something else. A question that has stayed with me ever since. If a room full of people can repeat the same behavior without instruction, then what else are we repeating without realizing? And more importantly, who are we becoming through the things we repeat every day? Because once behavior becomes habit, and habit becomes identity, the question is no longer only, what am I doing? The real question becomes, what is this doing to me? And to understand that, we have to go deeper. We have to look at the psychology of imitation, the invisible need to belong, and the strange truth that human beings are not only thinkers. We are mirrors. We copy. We adapt. We absorb. And sometimes, we become what surrounds us, long before we realize we had a choice.